Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Kiodiekin, and in today's review, we are going to take a look at the Damaso Childhood Memories. This is the 200 gigabyte image he released some time ago. I believe the base on this is Supreme Beta 4, so it's a little outdated from where we are right now, but it's really a good base image and it has a lot of games included. In addition to that, I've been going over quite a few of the comments and questions that has been asked on Arcade Punks. So in addition to this review, I think I'll go ahead and scroll down this list to see if I can answer any of these questions. I know a lot of them are a little bit old, but I'm here to help you guys out. So let's go ahead and get into this review. All right, guys, so here we have the Damaso 200 gig childhood memories image. This was released, I believe, sometime around September or October of last year. It's running one of the older Supreme images or Supreme bases. This is Supreme Beta 4. Some of the questions you guys have asked is it possible to use this with a with a SSD? And is it possible to use this on the Raspberry Pi 4 gigabyte? I'm sorry, the Raspberry Pi 8 gigabyte. At this time, no. These images or this base image is really old, but you guys should know that Supreme Pro, the one Wolfenose worked on, I'm not sure if Damaso released anything on Supreme Pro, but I do know that the image that Wolfenose worked on, Supreme Pro, that base is capable now with the SSD and is also capable to use it on the Pi 4 8 gigabyte model. Now, it has been some time that you guys could have done that many months ago. A lot of people didn't know about it. But yeah, you guys can use that particular build with your 8 gigabyte Pi 4 model. All right, so in total, Damaso has about 8,619 games on here. I've gone through this a little bit, and he has a really good, robust variation of all the games on here. So he has Sega Genesis, Master System, Sega SG-1000. He has 66 games. What is this? The PlayStation Mini. The Minis on here. He has 261 games. PlayStation Portable 27. PlayStation, out of a possible 700 games, he added 90. I believe that is. That's actually a good choice because PlayStation takes up a lot of games on here. I think in total the entire PlayStation library is about 85 gigs. So, you know, he's being modest with that, just picking out the best ones he feels is really good for the system. PCFX, Super Graphics, he has 6 games on here. I'm sorry, 5. TurboGrafx 16, he has about 34. CD-ROM, he has 23. PC Engine, 274. So all the systems that are on here, 1008 games. And if you guys watched my last video when I was talking a little bit about image making, this is actually a good choice. And I know that a lot of you aren't interested in a lot of games, but please keep in mind that it's not so much about how many games you have, but it's also game ratio to file size. So for example, you could have a game like a Dreamcast game that could be 900 megabytes, but that could be 2 or 3 different ROM sets included with all the media that you could have had for yourself that one ROM took up. So please keep that in mind when you guys are looking at an image, because you don't want something that has a lot of fluff on it, whether it's also artwork being included. Nintendo 64, we have 140 games. Super Nintendo hacks 21, Super Nintendo 783. So that's pretty much the entire set there for the Super Nintendo. Super Famicom 125. NES, he has 781, so I believe that is the entire set there. That's a great throwdown. So all these file sizes here between Super Nintendo and Nintendo, these are very minuscule, and the entire library itself is only about, I think it's only about 50 gigs. I'm sorry, not 50 gigs, but 50 megs. So it's really nothing. So I mean, you know, just toss those on there. He does a really good job with that. It has the Atari Lynx on here. It has 781 games. So we have the Atari 7800, 58, 2600. Beats of Rage, out of a total of a possible 61 games, he has 50. Daphne has a library on the Pi that runs about, I think, 16 or 17 games, and so he has 6. 30 Naomi games and 12 Sammy Thomas Wave games as well. I believe this is the entire Neo Geo set, And roughly out of about 2300 arcade games, he has 1200 on here. So I'm just going to scroll through this list for just a little bit. I want to see if he has, okay, so he does have a few light gun games on there, so that's a nice little image with the fact that he has some CHD capable games. So you have Area 51, Maximum Force Combo. Most of this stuff is scraped, so even if you guys are downloading this and you need a good ROM set that's already scraped and you're having problems scraping it, that is a nice way to do it, just to kind of cheat everything. People have already done this for you to kind of help you out, so you could download this image and then back up the folders that you want and already have a perfectly scraped image to add to your collection. And then as it goes on, maybe you guys, if you want to customize or add to your list, you can kind of do it manually that way. So it really saves you a lot of time, because I know in the past few days a lot of you have been complaining about the screen scraper program not working. So that's another way to do it, is just find somebody's image that has everything you want that's perfectly scraped. So he has a nice little robust number of games here. I want to check the X-Men column, see if he has, okay, he only has the X-Men 4-player game, it looks like. Typically I like to see X-Men 6-player as well, but to each his own. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, let's go down here. Looks like he has about all 4 of those as well. So it's always good to see the two, you know, you have the Oceania version, and then of course you have the standard 4-player version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then of course you have the 2-player and 4-player versions of Turtles in Time. So I believe that's there as well. Another thing that he did do, he does have some custom splash screens that he added for himself. We have 30 Sega CDs, games. We got Sega 32X, Game Gear, some hacks, Genesis. So it is a pretty nice image. I can't remember all the specifics from Supreme Beta 4. You guys will have to reference my video in terms of what the base is offering. I do believe that the Pixel desktop works on this as well. I'm trying to think, because it's been a while since I've actually reviewed Beta 4. But all in all, most of the games, or actually all the games that I know of, have actually worked on here. Going through some of the comment sections, some of you did ask how come some of the Daphne games don't work. So let's take a look at that really quick. I want to see if I can help you guys out, then kind of go through some things. So let's see what we got. Having problems configuring Dreamcast. Dreamcast should work with Redream. So I'm not sure if that person's, okay, well, he said he got it. How do I download this torrent? Somebody's trying to download it and burn the image. I know some of the questions, some people were asking if the Daphne works. The Daphne games that I've played, as far as Space Ace and Dragon's Lair, they did load for me, so that hasn't been an issue. Again, as far as the equipment, I am using my standard Pi 4 that is fully encased in a nice enclosure. I can't remember if this particular image is overclocked or not. I haven't looked at all the full specs. I am using a Samsung Evo 256 gigabyte SD card. That one has approximately a 95 to 100 megabyte read speed on this particular card, so everything's running really fine. Somebody already figured out how to change the dip switch settings. So, but hopefully I was able to answer some of the questions as far as, can you use this with an SSD or can you use this on the Pi 4 8 gigabyte model? And right now the answer to that is no. The Supreme team will not be going backwards trying to adjust these things for Beta 2 or Beta 4. It's just too much work, and technology has really advanced itself from there. With that being said, so let's get back into the image. I think, let's see, Johnny Arcade, he's looking for some cedars. Great transmission. Okay, so I've never really done this before as far as looking at a lot of the questions you guys have on images or bills. So I think I'll probably start doing that a little bit more to kind of help you guys out. And for those of you guys who do not know who I am, I'm one of the main beta testers or testers for Supreme builds, and I've been using the Pi Retropie on the Pi 4 since its inception, since the Supreme team was the first ones to get a working Retropie version on it. I pretty much know all the ins and outs and as far as what it is capable of doing. Let's see, I've rebooted 3 times, black screen, format a 400 gig card. Yeah, this should definitely work. So make sure you guys are using the cards that I recommend, so that way you guys don't have any problems whatsoever. So let's go ahead and get back to the actual review. All right, so we have our options. The beta does come with beta 4 does come with the bezel custom sets, bezel project. You have your Bluetooth, boot up, theme randomizer. You have a configurator. If you guys watched my previous video, that was more or less a more recent version of Retropie, but please keep in mind that Retropie 4.6 does not have a lot of these custom options the community makes for you. So for example, one of the things that I really find handy for myself is the system info and weather. And this really comes in handy. This isn't available on the official base. And what this does is it tells you your file size, it tells you your temperature readings and stuff. There's other ways to find that out, but I mean, who wants to do all of that when you can just have something really, at your fingertips? So currently I have available 213 megabytes. Let's see here, available. I'm sorry, I've used 170 gigabytes so far on this particular image out of a possible 256 that I have available on this SD card. The current temperature reading on this is 45 degrees Celsius, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty standard, so that's where you should be. Keep in mind, when Retropie or the Pi 4 first came out, temperatures were all the way up to about 85 degrees Celsius, which is pretty hot. And just to kind of keep that in perspective as far as how hot that was, I have RC car ESCs that are running a lot cooler, pushing a 11-pound RC car doing 90 miles an hour. And even after that run, that is still cooler originally than what the Pi 4 was coming out at as far as the temperature gauges. So we'll back out of this. We'll take a look at some of the other things here. You also have your Supreme Online Toolkit. So if there are any updates, you guys should always make sure that you have the latest updates available for that. So again, all in all, I mean, I'm really happy with this image. It's 200 gigs. It gives you a robust amount of stuff. It's not just loaded down with one particular ROM set from any particular console and fills it up. So you are getting a good variation of everything. You have your Sega CDs, games, you have your 32Xs, you get your hacks on here. Not a lot of images have hacks. Let's take a look and see what he provided. I'm curious to see what he added on PlayStation. There's usually about 3 games I usually look for when an image maker is making a PlayStation. So I want to see if he has it on here. Alright, I don't see Future Cop or Fantastic Four. And let's see if there's NFL Blitz. Okay, so yeah, you got NFL Blitz on there. So those are just my personal games that I like to have on there, because when I first started using a Pi, one of the main games that was a 4-player beat 'em up game was Fantastic Four, and not too many people have that. But you can always add it yourself if you want to. So again, this is an overall good image. You get about, let's see here, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you get about 7 or 8 themes on here, which is pretty good. You definitely get some nice choices. But all in all, I'm really impressed with it. And it's a really good image if you guys are looking to get a Retropie. 200 gigs, 256 is really a good sweet spot. When I first started working on the Pi 4, I said there's no possible way I could see anybody releasing a Pi 4 image, a decent Pi 4, not something tailored for light gun games, not something tailored made for arcades, but nothing less than 128, because you figure the majority of Pi 3B Plus images were, the average size was about 128 or so. The standard size for arcade was 32. So with the Pi 4, you should be looking to get a 256, 200, or nothing less than 128. I could tell you my arcade set itself for the Pi 4 is 128 gigs. That is about 30 gigs worth of Daphne games and then everything else. My light gun set, I think it's 42 two 44 gigs just for that. So that's just light guns only. So just keep that in mind when you guys are looking for a good Pi image. This is pretty standard, a good entry level set to get into. But let me know if you have any questions. Drop something down below. Let me know if there's something else you guys want me to review specifically on this channel. And keep in mind, my channel is just not dedicated to Retropie. I do fireworks on Kiodiekin. I also do other gaming related content as well as tech reviews. But let me know if there's something you guys want me to look into, because I do love paying attention to detail. And also check out my playlist if you guys have any questions regarding the Pi 4 and as far as the advancements from where it started to where we are now. And also keep an eye out for Supreme Ultra. I hear some things coming down the pipeline pretty soon for that. So again, this is Kiodiekin. Hope you guys have a good night. Consider subscribing to the channel. You guys have a good day.